been a while since I've talked to you guys. Sorry about that. It's been a lot going on. And today we got a lot going on in this video because I want to talk to you about something I've been meaning to talk to you guys about for a minute. I'm excited. It's fun because we are going to talk about the art of fighting. Ha! Almost got you. Let's just get to the video. So I'm not gonna lie, one of the most fun things for me, the most fun thing for me to draw in any comic book or any video comic or anything that I'm working on which involves art, the most fun thing for me to draw is the fight. I love drawing people punching other people in the face. I do. It's kind of my thing, and I think it's important to know how to draw a good fight, especially when we're talking about in the realm of comics. So there are certain things that you need to be aware of to draw a great fight. And this is personal for me because I'm on a quest to actually draw the greatest comic book style fight I've ever drawn. And I have one particular video comic in mind that's coming up that I think I'm going to be able to pull off probably one of my longest, most intricate fight designs ever. And the more I think about it, the more excited I get, and I can't help but that's just my thing. So yeah, it's for the North 314 project that I'm working on, which is this fantasy adventure series set in this world, not unlike the one that we exist in, but it's a little bit different. It's kind of like this mixture of Lord of the Rings and Blade Runner, and it's just a gumbo of things. And basically it's about this young lady and her friends as she goes on a quest to avenge the death of her adoptive parents, who happen to be these really large dragons. And she's finding the men that killed her parents, and then obviously there's way more to the story, and it builds up over there, and you'll have to go to Foresight Media YouTube channel to see all of that as those episodes drop. But that's basically it. And the second episode that I'm planning in my mind brain, the second episode is going to open with a really long fight scene, and it got me to thinking about this would be a good time to do a tutorial on how to draw a great comic book fight. And there's some things that you guys should know, and there's some things you guys should think of. And drawing a comic book fight is not just about drawing a guy punching another guy in the face, but there's some thought to it, and we're gonna go over that in this video. Alright guys, so the first thing to drawing a great fight is you gotta plan it out. And I know that just sounds like that's a little bit too much, Dave, that's a lot. Who plans out fights? Well, basically everybody. If you're in movies, they plan out fights. If you're in TVs, they plan out the fights. So if we want to have a great fight in a comic, you should plan it out. And there's some things that you can do to make the planning process a little bit fun. You can pantomime out some things. You could actually watch different videos of fight scenes just to kind of get an idea of how you want the fight to go, right? You can look at your favorite anime. Your favorite anime always has a great fight, and you can look at those aspects of it as well. But again, planning is necessary, especially when you're doing any kind of fight scene. I remember when I was doing the Kwame Hightower and the New Knights comic coloring book, available on Amazon, but I wanted to do a 9-panel fight scene like the great Jack Kirby did for one of the most influential fight scenes ever, where he did Captain America versus Batroc. So in the Kwame Hightower 9-panel fight scene, I literally planned out every beat of that fight from when the alien captain, what's that, Vorta? Yeah, Captain Vorta is ready to swing his mace at Kwame blocking, to Kwame breaking it down into a fist fight because he knew he had hands and he could outbox the guy. And then, of course, that led into the big splash panel of the big punch across the chin that knocked out the bad guy. That was completely planned out. It wasn't specifically written down, but it was planned out in my head because I knew what I wanted and how I wanted it to go. So again, if you're going to be working on these projects and trying to create something a little bit more interesting than just, pow to the face, you got to plan it out. So planning, very necessary. Now, strangely enough, a lot of people will say that I'm doing overkill, but again, I just like my fights to be fun and exciting. And in that, not only is planning necessary, but the fight should have its own story. That's the next thing. Your fight should have its own stakes, goals, up, down. It's almost like 3 acts, right? Act 1, you're kind of introducing the characters, so to speak, but you're introducing them to in the form of combat. Act 2 is kind of like it's building to this grand finale, and then Act 3 is literally us getting to the point where the character lands the key punch, or the character lands the knockout blow. So again, there's a goal. There's a goal. Hey, it could be I got to get to the other side of the street, or I got to get to this doomsday button, or this guy is going to try to do something and I have to stop him. And the characters should seem like they're very well invested into achieving their goal, whether it's I gotta press the button to end all life and this guy is trying to stop me, or I gotta stop this guy from pressing the button to end all life and he's trying to accomplish his goal. So when characters have goals that is like this little mini story that's within the story, that's what makes the fight more interesting, because now there's stakes. People are involved. People are invested, and they're like, "Well, is he going to win? Is he going to lose?" When there are stakes, whatever the fight is, it could be anime paper rock scissors, like my guys in Corridor just did. If there's stakes involved, it just raises the height. It just heightens the anticipation of the fight and its outcome, and again, people become way more invested. And the thing is, as visual storytellers, that's our greatest goal, is to get people invested into all these aspects of our story. And a good fight helps your audience invest into your overall story as well. So let's get into some of the mechanics of drawing a really good fight. And some of the things that I like to draw is basically the anticipation, or telegraphing the punch. And what I mean by that is that 9 times out of 10, when I have a character with an arm cocked back, that's normally the fist they're going to lead with when they start to punch. A slight mistake I made in one of my books is I have a character with his arm pulled back, and it should be the lead punch, but I mistakenly threw the wrong punch. So it looks off. It's a subtle mistake that most people won't pick up on, but because I was purposely telegraphing one way, I needed to follow up on it. Now the rest of the fight really came out pretty good, because I made sure that whatever hand is pulled back, that's the hand that's going to lead into the next punch. Or if it's whatever leg is cocked back, that's going to be the next kick. So again, that's part of the planning and part of thinking this out and thinking of the story more than just cats just beating up on each other. So I really want people to I really want you guys to really work on that. So like I said, if you got a character and they're throwing a punch, and this arm, and say the right arm is cocked back, then the follow-up has to be the right? And you just have to think about that. So if they're throwing the left, then they got to follow with the right. If they're throwing the right, they got to follow with the left. it's a simple science, and it doesn't seem like it matters, but it does, because visually it makes more sense to the audience. And once again, it just pulls them in, because now they're like, okay, this makes sense. He hit him with the right, now he's following up with the left. Oh, he hit him with the right. The dude slipped the left. Uh-oh, he's got his right, and now he hits him with an uppercut. It really makes a lot of sense, because now they can kind of tell, oh, okay, this is what's happening. All right, it makes sense. So the last thing I want to talk about, especially when you're drawing a fight, is that when you draw a punch, that punch has to look like it has some impact, and in that you're exaggerating a little bit. So impact and exaggeration are super important to drawing a really dope fight scene. So I like to do the impact, I guess, speed lines where it literally covers the whole face for the most part, or I like to show a nice flying reaction when I'm drawing a fight, because you want these characters, even if they're not superhuman or super powered, if they're just regular powered characters, regular style characters, regular human beings, that they are, what they're throwing really hurts. So it's kind of, if you just draw a picture and a guy's punching the guy in the face and like, that doesn't look like that hurts. But if you really try to emphasize that the punch is doing something to the character, their reaction, in Kwame Hightower and the New Knights, when Kwame throws his punch that knocks out the captain, Vorta, you can see how it wobbled his whole face. And I was really trying to go for that HD face wobble thing, but then also Vorta has like these beads on his mustache, and one of the beads is flying off. You can see dude's hand is kind of stretched out in a way. It's like, oh yeah, he's out. In Rampage Jackson and the New Knights, he's going up against, I'm sorry, Rampage Jackson. In the Rampage Jackson big brawl coloring book, Rampage has a fight with a guy, and they're just going back and forth. And you know, it's just one hard hit after another, and that's what I'm talking about. The characters are reacting as if they are taking these punches, and these punches really hurt. And you gotta, like, sometimes I may draw a little spurt of blood flying out, or a lot, just depending on the impact that I'm trying to sell. Or like I said, I may just do the entire impact explosive speed line deal that covers up the whole face. But that whole goal is to make the fight, the punches seem like they are really having an impact and on the opponent, and vice versa. So again, when you're drawing, definitely you have to have that exaggeration and that idea of the impact really knocking a character back or sending them flying across a room. I saw an anime where a guy punched a guy so hard, it looked like all his clothes flew. Well, all his clothes did fly off. The guy landed on the ground and he had nothing on but his tidy whities. It's hilarious, but it sold the punch. And that's what you want. You always want to sell the punch. So whether it's a superhuman punch that's really shattering a jaw or something like that, or just two big bruisers just going at it, you always want to sell the punches, just like wrestling. The more you sell the impact, the better it looks to the audience, and the better the audience can read it. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I just wanted to talk to you about one of my favorite subjects, which is drawing a fight. And I hope you got a little value out of this, and if you did, please hit the like and subscribe button and share this all over the internet. And also go check out the the video comics that we are doing over at Foresight Media. You guys will really like it, so please go and like and subscribe that channel too. Hey, alright guys, it's your boy DKG72. I'm out. Peace.